So Uber patents reveal experiments with predictive algorithms to identify risky drivers. Are you a risky driver to Uber and Lyft? If so, your lifespan on that platform is short because they are going to deactivate you. They don't want to take any chances. That's why so many people are getting deactivated, right? Surveillance drivers under the guise of safety is a common thread in Uber's patents. So they're surveilling your driving habits. They are spying, through those cams that they provide. Experts warn the systems described could reinforce existing inequalities, right? So safety issues have dogged Uber since its early days as a black car-hailing service. Car accidents and physical altercations have persisted despite Uber's attempts to monitor its cars and vet drivers. Reports of sexual violence in its vehicles eventually led Uber to admit it was not immune to the problem. Amid public backlash and calls to address rider safety, and let's also talk about driver safety, Uber rolled out a flashy safety-first initiative in 2018, adding features like 911 assistance, which don't work, tightening screening of drivers, and for the first time issuing a safety report that outlined traffic fatalities, fatal physical assaults, and sexual assaults on its platform. That was before the pandemic. Over the past year and a half, safety took on new significance, where it used to mean drivers had to make riders feel taken care of. It now means that in addition to protecting riders from the virus, drivers have to figure out how to keep themselves healthy. And Uber again found itself persuading riders not to abandon its platform over safety fears, requiring drivers to submit a selfie verifying they're wearing a mask, offering limited amounts of cleaning supplies, and asking riders to complete a safety check before getting into the vehicle. While Uber changes might ease some riders' concerns, they don't offer the same level of automation and scale that an algorithmic solution could. Its potential path hinted at by a series of Uber patents granted from 2019 to last summer, which outline algorithmic scoring and risk prediction systems to help decide who is safe enough to drive for Uber. Taken together, they point to a pattern of experimentation with algorithmic prediction and driver surveillance in the name of rider safety, similar to widely criticized algorithms that help price insurance and make decisions in bail, sentencing, and parole. The systems described in the patents would make deeply consequential decisions using digital process that are difficult or impossible to untangle. While Uber's quest to make safety programmatic is tantalizing, experts expressed concerns that the systems could run afoul of their stated purpose. An Uber spokesman wrote in an email statement that although the company is always exploring ways that our technology can help improve the Uber experience, it does not currently have products tied to the safety scoring and risk assessment patterns. As the battle over drivers' legal classification continues, after Uber and Lyft used their deep pockets to fund an election victory that let them keep drivers as contractors in California, there are urgent concerns that systems like these could become another means to remove drivers without due process, especially as the pandemic has laid bare the vulnerability of gig workers who lack the safety net employees can lean on. Right, there it is. Spy on you, my friend, spy on you. Right, close up of a dashcam camera installed in the interior window of an Uber vehicle. Watched at all times. One pattern for scoring driver safety risk relies on machine learning and rider feedback, and notably suggests a driver's heavy accent corresponds to low quality service. Oh, wow. Then I must have really terrible low quality service with my accent, right? Another aims to predict safety incidents using machine learning models that determine the likelihood that a driver will be involved in dangerous driving or interpersonal conflict, utilizing factors like psychometric tests to determine their trustworthiness, monitoring their social media networks, and using office sources like police reports to overcome biases in rider feedback. Jeremy Gilila, former tech projects director at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, who now works as a privacy engineer at Google, said using algorithms to predict a person's behavior for the purpose of deciding if they're going to be danger or a problem is deeply concerning. It is very deeply concerning, folks, what they're up to here. Some brilliant engineers realize we can do machine learning basics based on people's text without realizing that we really want to get what we really want to get and what it actually represents in real life application, he said. The mistake is that a driver loses their livelihood, not that someone gets shown the wrong ad. Surveilling drivers under the guise of safety is a common thread in Uber's patents. Many evaluate drivers' performance using information from their phones, including that scores their driving ability and suggests tracking their eye and head movements with phone cameras, and other that detects the behavioral state, angry, intoxicated, or sleepy, and assigns them an abnormality score. Watch one of my previous videos of them spying on you, right? Check your settings, folks. Check your cell phone settings. Additional patents aim to monitor drivers' behavior using in-vehicle cameras and approximate distraction level with an activity log that tracks what else they are doing on their phones. Making a call, looking at a map, or even moving the phone around could indicate distraction. By the way, the link is under the video. Jamie Williams, a former staff attorney at EFF focused on civil liberties, who now works as a product counselor, said drivers should be aware they're being watched at all times. The patents also mirror technologies recently implemented by Amazon. In its delivery vans, the company announced plans in February to install video cameras that use AI to track drivers' hand movements, driving abilities, and facial expressions. Data collected by the cameras determines a safety score and could result in a driver being terminated, wrongfully terminated. Drivers have told Reuters the cameras are just another way to control us. The promise of safety. The algorithm outlined in a 2019 safety risk scoring pattern shows how dangerous these systems can be in real life, experts said, noting that it could mimic riders' existing biases. The system described in the patent uses a combination of rider feedback and phone metadata to assign drivers a safety score based on how carefully they drive, vehicle operation, and how they interact with passengers, interpersonal behavior. A driver's safety score would be calculated on a rider submits a safety Uber report to Uber. After a report is submitted according to the patent, it would be processed by algorithms along with any associated metadata, including the driver's Uber profile, the trip duration, distance traveled, GPS location, and car speed. With that information, the report would be classified into topics like physical altercation or aggressive driving. A driver's overall safety score would be calculated using weighted risk assessment scores from the interpersonal behavior and vehicle operation categories. This overall score would determine if a driver has a low, medium, or high safety risk, and consequently, if they should face disciplinary action, termination. Drivers with a high safety risk might receive a warning in the app, temporary account suspension, or an unspecified intervention in real time. Adding a further layer of automation, the patent also describes a system that automatically tweaks driver safety scores based on specific metadata. A driver who has completed a certain number of trips would be marked as safer, while one who's generated more safety incidences would be marked as less safe. According to the patent, a driver who works at night is considered less safe than a driver who works during the day. While this design may seem straightforward, shouldn't be. Let me say that again. According to the patent, a driver who works at night is considered less safe than a driver who works during the day. While this design may be straightforward, shouldn't a more experienced driver who has better road visibility be considered safer, experts say. Any automated decision-making requires that developers making meaningful choices to avoid inserting bias into the entire system. Gilila said Uber's automated rules could make decisions based on flawed human assumptions. Race may be correlated with what time of day you're operating as an Uber driver. If it's a second job because you have to work during the day, it seems ridiculous to penalize you for that, he said. This is exactly the sort of thing that worries me. It should worry you too. If Uber wants to make an algorithmic scoring fair, it would need to be transparent about how drivers are being evaluated. We need someone on the inside who is a whistleblower and who tells us how they are evaluating us, and give them a proper feedback channel, Williams said. Machine learning algorithms can be wrong. Users can be wrong. It's very important to have clear processes, transparency, awareness about what's going on in the score. Questions of accuracy and fairness Risk assessment algorithms have long been used by insurance companies to set policyholder premiums based on indicators like age, occupation, geographical location, and hobbies. Algorithms are also utilized in the criminal justice system, where they are applied at nearly every stage of the legal process to help judges and officials make decisions. Proprietary algorithms like Compass, used in states like Florida and Wisconsin, determine an individual's risk of recidivism on a scale of 1 to 10, and with certain numbers corresponding to low, medium, and high risk. The same rubric Uber's pattern follows. Though Uber claims to predict safety risk in its patterns, it faces the same fundamental questions of fairness and accuracy leveled at criminal justice algorithms. The bias inherent in those algorithms has been pointed out again and again. If the design of an algorithm is flawed from the outset, its outcomes and predictions will be too. In the criminal justice context, rearrest is an imperfect proxy for recidivism, because arrests are so closely tied to factors like where you live, where you interact with police, and what you look like. Uber's current rating system, which allows riders and drivers to rate one another on a 5-star scale, is similar to the interpersonal behavior category described in Uber's safety risk scoring pattern. Both rely on subjective judgments that are the basis for doling out punishments. Under its current system, Uber deactivates or fires drivers whose ratings drop below a certain threshold. The policy has long infuriated drivers who say they have no real way of contesting unfair ratings. They're funneled through a support system that prioritizes passengers and rarely provides a satisfactory resolution for drivers. Desai, executive director of the New York Taxi Workers Alliance, said drivers are not protected from passengers' racism, bias, or bigotry. We've talked to drivers who feel like they've gotten a lower rating because they're Muslim. She said, I know of African American drivers who stopped working for them because they felt that they would be rated lower. Former drivers Thomas Liu sued Uber last October, proposing a class action suit on behalf of non-white drivers who were fired based on racially biased ratings. Williams said the safety score would be subject to the same concerns. People could put safety report in just because they don't like a driver. It could be racially biased, and there could be a lot of misuse of it. Kumar, a former New York City yellow cab driver, was permanently deactivated by Uber in 2019. He had been driving for Uber every day for nearly 5 years, and the deactivation meant the sudden loss of $400 to $500 per week. I went to the office 5 times. I emailed them, and they said it was because one customer complained. One customer. Whenever you go there, you ask them what happened. They always say it's a safety issue. I've been driving in New York since 1991 and had no accident, no ticket, so I don't know what kind of safety they're looking for. The kind of safety outlined in Uber's safety risk scoring pattern isn't clear to Kumar either. He said the interpersonal behavior reporting would cause the same problems as Uber's rating system. Customers file a complaint even if they're not 100% right. Meanwhile, the vehicle operation category could unfairly penalize New York City drivers who need to drive more aggressively. Joshua Welton, organizer with Teamsters 117 and the affiliated drivers union, said algorithmic discipline remains a top issue for drivers. It's no wonder Uber and Lyft drivers across the country are rising up and taking action for greater fairness and voice on the job, like due process to appeal deactivations. Welton said it's about basic respect and being treated as a human being, not a data experiment. An artificial trust. The basis for Uber's safety experimentation is user data, and Daniel Kahn Gilmore, a senior staff technologist at the American Civil Liberties Union Speech, Privacy and Technology Project, said Uber is sitting on an ever-growing pile of information on people who have ever ridden on its platform. This is a company that does massive experimentation and has shown little regard for data privacy. Sue them, sue them, sue them. In addition to a vast trove of data gathered from over 10 billion trips, Uber collects telematics data from drivers such as their car's speed, braking, and acceleration using GPS data from their devices. In 2016, it launched a safety device called the Uber Beacon, a color-changing orb that amounts to car's windshield. It was announced as a device that assisted with rider pickups without mention of the fact that it contains sensors for collecting telematics data. In a now deleted blog post from 2018, really, Uber engineers touted the beacon's benefits as a device solely managed by Uber for testing algorithms and said it collected better data than drivers' devices. Brian Green, Director of Technology Ethics at Santa Clara University for Applied Ethics, questioned the motive behind Uber's data collection. If the purpose of Uber's surveillance system is to promote trust, if a corporation wants to be trustworthy, they have to allow the public to look at them, he said. Drivers don't trust Uber, period. Drivers don't trust Lyft, period. A lot of tech companies are not transparent. They don't want the light shone on them. We do that in this channel. We shine the light on these cockroaches. Walter said that when the companies like Uber experiment with worker discipline based on black box algorithms, both workers and consumers alike should be deeply concerned whether the reach of big data into our daily lives has gone too far. In addition to providing a view into Uber's safety vision, the patents demonstrate the scope of its machine learning ambitions. This article is awesome. Uber considers AI essential to its business and has made significant investments in it over the past few years. Its internal machine learning platform helps engineering teams apply AI to optimize trip routes, match drivers and riders, mine insights about drivers, and build more safety features. Uber already uses algorithms to process over 90% of its rider feedback. The company said that it receives an immense amount of feedback by design, the majority of which is not related to safety. Algorithmic safety, scoring and risk assessment also fit under Uber's rider safety initiative and its efforts to ensure safe drop-offs for its growing delivery platform. Experts said the systems are not as far from reality as tech companies. Patents sometimes are. In a statement, Uber said that patent applications are filed on many ideas, but not all of them actually become products or features. Really, but some of Uber's safety-related patents have close parallels with widely utilized features. A patent filed in 2015 for trip anomaly detection bears similarities to Uber's Rideshare feature. Technology for anonymizing pickup and drop-off locations is similar to a patent application filed last year and an application filed in 2015 for verifying driver's identity with selfies is similar to Uber's security safety feature. Green said Uber's patents reflect a broader trend in which technology is used as a quick fix for deeper societal issues. We are dealing with so many people we don't know that tech and surveillance steps in to build an artificial trust, he said. The trust can only extend so far during the pandemic, which has underscored the economic uncertainty drivers face and the limits of technology's promise of safety. Rolling out such systems now would mean there's even more at stake, right? So this, my friends, is a powerful, powerful article. You are being watched, you are being monitored, and based on all of that, they are making quick decisions, and that means deactivating, and deactivating drivers, right? All of these patterns lead to, invasion of your office, which is your car, and then you don't get explanations. You simply get deactivated. Folks, attorneys, lawyers, listen up. You have a ton of information here to file class action lawsuits, right? This invasion of privacy, this misuse of data opens up a huge legal minefield. Get the lawsuits filed, companies, and contact the drivers and start creating boundaries. Uber and Lyft do not know their limits or boundaries. They will keep on pushing and pushing and invading into drivers' lives and misusing that data and using that data against delivery people and drivers. Lawyers, step up, wake up, and start filing today.